So today we'll be dealing with two very important issues in Indian economy. That is the concept related with base erosion and profit shifting, and second is related with double taxation avoidance agreement. We'll discuss all these things, but try to understand for those who are writing mains this year. For you, you'll surely will get a question on this. 12.5 marks for you. Sure. Whatever happens, it will come. So ensure that after today's class, you submit your answers on, and it will be on India Mauritius. You have the model question there. You will get a question on India Mauritius double taxation avoidance agreement, but you need to take extra inputs from other topics also. For example, see now the regarding double taxation avoidance agreement, the most important double taxation avoidance agreement is in relation to Mauritius. That's very important. But Cyprus is also can be linked, and you, as you know, for your mains, UPSC is not asking from a single dimension. They are asking 2 dimension or 3 dimension. So Cyprus and also Singapore. So now all the 3 double taxation avoidance agreement are important in relation to Mauritius, Singapore and Cyprus. Now everything, all the 3 treaty are interrelated. So that interrelation is very important for you. In which way Cyprus treaty is having a relation with Mauritius and also in relation to Singapore also. So be very clear. Okay. Now we'll discuss all these issues. Now when you answer these questions, this linkage also have to be, even if it is a question related with Mauritius, directly or indirectly you have to mention Cyprus and also this Singapore. Now we'll before going to the main topic, try to understand regarding this foreign investment. This topic is also related with foreign investment. As a developing country like India, which require huge investment, especially in infrastructure and other related activities. Mainly we require investment for infrastructure. What is the crux is that this investment is not sufficient from domestic sources. This investment is not sufficient from domestic sources. Then we need to attract lot of investment from foreign sources. That is called foreign investment. Now when we talk about foreign investment, both are there. Both are important for us. Mainly FDI. And also FDI is important, but mainly we require FDI. Now when I talk here in relation to foreign investment, try to understand that both are being included. FDI and FBN included. Now try to, this angle also have to be taken into consideration when I discuss this topic, because it is not there in your material. In your material it is not there, but you have to bring the how this treaty will affect foreign inflows to our country. Getting the point? Okay, now we'll come back to our topics. First we'll discuss with, now try to understand that again there is a direct relation between BEPS and DTA. There is a direct relation between base erosion and profit shifting and double taxation avoidance agreement. Will everything, all the direct relationship, the concepts and the important issue both for your mains and prelims will be discussed today. Now come, we'll start with this base erosion and profit shifting. It's very simple. Everything is there in the material, the definition itself. BEPS. BEPS. BE means base erosion. BE means base erosion. PS means profit shifting. Now what do you mean by base erosion? In what context this, you know the meaning of erosion? There is some erosion, something is getting eroded. Now here, when I say base, it is one word is missing here. Try to understand. It is tax base. The base is tax base. The base is tax base. Now for whom that, so there is a erosion in the tax base of countries. Tax base in relation to countries. Now if you take into consideration all the erosion in the tax base, you consider a country like India. What is the significance of tax base? Because if there is a wide tax base, the government can raise more revenue. Actually, tax is the major revenue of the government, right? Major revenue of the government. If the tax base is lesser, again the another impact is, now try to understand in relation to tax base. This angle also have to be mentioned in the answer. When it comes to taxation, we have two types of taxes: direct tax and indirect tax. I had seen with the main student, when you write answer, you assume lot of things. You think that examiner knows everything. By mentioning direct tax and by mentioning indirect tax, you need to explain what is the impact of direct tax to the common man or to the citizen. What is the impact of indirect tax to the citizen or the common man? When it comes to indirect tax, try to understand indirect tax is a regressive tax. In what sense? It affects everyone of the country. There is no distinction between rich or poor in relation to indirect tax. Now what is this indirect tax? So it means that everyone who is sitting over here are having an impact of indirect tax. Everybody is paying indirect tax. There is not even a one person who is sitting over here have not paid indirect tax. Everyone is having a mobile phone. Is there anyone who is not having a mobile phone? No, you are there. You are paying service tax for you are paying service tax. Yes or no? Yes, you are paying service tax without you knowing it. So what I am trying to say is indirect tax affects everyone, but in relation to direct tax is not like that. Those who have means those who can have means there is a threshold for direct tax. Who have it only need to pay tax. Take the case of personal income tax. Your personal income. If you don't have a personal income, you need not to pay any tax. Or if you have a personal income to a particular threshold, you are being exempted. So poor or common man is not affected by personal income tax. Now take the case of corporate tax, which is again a direct tax. Again, corporate tax, poor need not to pay any tax. Corporate tax have to be paid by the corporate company only. Okay, now what I am trying to say is, because the tax which we discuss here, see, this topic is about tax. This topic is all about tax evasion, tax avoidance. When we discuss here, here the tax is basically a direct tax, not an indirect tax. Basically, in this topic which we discuss here, it is a direct tax. We discuss about two types of tax. Mainly tax here in this topic, it can be either a corporate tax, or a tax what is called as CGT, capital gains tax. Very important. In this double taxation avoidance agreement, this is the only tax which you are going to discuss, capital gains tax. So you need to mention it, capital gains tax. No other tax is there. Now regarding corporate tax, it is there in BEPS. Okay. Now what is happening in India is, now when we say that there is an erosion in the tax base, it is in relation to erosion in the direct tax. Now what the government will do when there is an erosion in the direct tax? The government, when it finds that the direct tax is not collected as per the budget, what they will do? They will increase the indirect tax. So see the impact when there is a base erosion, tax base erosion, how it affects. See, first of all, it is a loss for the government. It will affect the welfare expenditure. So if the government does not have sufficient tax, it will reduce the welfare expenditure. Not only that, it will increase the indirect tax. Now, we have been suffering with it. If you see the simple example of petroleum products, what is the international price of petroleum products and what is the price of India? What the government have done in relation to petroleum products? Even though, even though, even though the price, even though the price have come down, they have what they have done? They have not reduced the prices. It means that what they have done, they have increased the indirect tax like excise duty. And what has happened with the by doing this, everyone is affected. You're getting the point. So that's the reason why we call indirect tax as a regressive tax, because it hit both the rich and the poor. That's another angle to it. I'm not going to that angle, but just when you write answers, this angle has to come. You need to explain. So that's what I'm telling, because so few students have already written answer from Trivandrum and I had seen that this point is lacking in their answer. They said that, sir, it is here. Where? It is not there. It's only mentioned. You need to explain. If you say something, explain it. Explain this is the issue. Now come back to the thing. Now when we talk about erosion in the tax base, for a country like India, that erosion is so huge. So huge. Now, so keep this in. So is it clear with this? What? It's very simple. Base erosion means erosion in the tax base. And what type of tax? It is direct tax. Now what is this? Profit shifting. Now how a country erode tax? It is mainly due to profit shifting. Now try to understand this topic of base erosion and profit shifting is in relation to one entity. It's in relation to one topic only. That is, this is in relation to multinational companies only. This concept is in relation to foreign companies or multinational companies. This strategy is used by whom? Multinational companies. Now what they do? They see that how the tax base get eroded. Tax base get eroded when these multinational companies, they do careful tax planning and ensure that they shift the profit from the source country to some other country so that they can avoid taxes over there. I'll just give you, there are different examples. Now suppose, imagine a country like say a multinational company like Uber. Now everyone knows about Uber, na? Uber is a multinational company, it's not an Indian company. Ola is an Indian company. Uber, take the case of Uber. Now Uber is in loss, that's a different case, that's a marketing strategy, I'm not going to that part. Uber, imagine after a certain period of time, Uber is making lot of money. Uber is making lot of profit in India. Now what the Uber will do now? It's basically a San Francisco based company, it's a US based company. It will say that it shows that annually from India it has made a profit of 100 crore. It has made a profit from India from 100 crore, and while mentioning expenditure, it will say that 50 crore as royalty have to pay to this some parent company or something like that. They can structure. I'm making it very simple. What they can do, they can increase the expenses and the taxable income. See, the taxable income, that's why what I said, careful tax planning. Through careful tax planning, they will increase the expenses through different, by saying that royalty or patent or whatever it is, intellectual property, and while calculating taxes, they will show taxable income very less and pay very less taxes. And what they do, they shift this profit to their parent company or whatever it is, and there is no need to pay taxes. So this is a very interesting careful tax planning. There are different method in which this profit can be shifted. This is not actually the example I want to explain. We'll discuss in the case of double taxation avoidance agreement, how the multinational companies have used this profit shifting. We'll discuss that. But that is very important for you. I'll just explain this. So base erosion and profit shifting is nothing but It is basically a strategy used by multinational company where they shift their profit from the source country. Source country means from the country where they have produced the income. See, where you produce the income, there you have to pay tax, but they will not pay tax there. They'll brilliantly they'll shift the profit, and what will happen to the source country? What will happen to the source country? They will erode tax base. There is a erosion in the tax. And what is the impact for that source country? It will affect their welfare expenditure activities, and also the government will indirectly increase the indirect tax, and it affects the common man also. Now this has become a greater concern not only in India. Now try to understand this BEPS is not only related with India, every country is facing this problem. Even US is having the problem. All the developed countries is having the problem. Even developing countries is also having the problem. So what an organization called OECD, it's a very famous organization of mainly developed countries, OECD, have come up along with given a set of guidelines or action plans to G20. Now regarding G20 in your next class, in your coming week class, regarding what is this G20, again G20 is very important for your mains and for your prelims. G20 has come, means the role of G20 is coming down, means it's not effective, so that you need to. Now G20, regarding G20, try to understand both the developed countries including European Union and also the 10 the major emerging economy developing countries like India and China is also part of it. So G20 consists of US and European major developed countries and also emerging economies like India, China, Russia, etc. Now this OECD have set an action plan to tackle this issue of BEPS. So it has given 15-point action plan. OECD has given a 15-point action plan for whom to implement, for G20 countries to implement. Now once they implement this 15-point action plan, they can ensure that the multinational companies tactic of tax avoidance can be reduced, and thereby the tax base of that country, G20 countries, can be increased. So this guideline was given in October 2015. That's why, and there was even the budget have, again keep this in mind, the budget have implemented some provisions in related to implementing this 15-point action plan. And that's the reason why there was a question in this year prelims also regarding BEPS. Prelims BEPS question was there. Okay, now come back. Now from regarding this 15-point action plan, regarding the 15-point action plan, the sixth point, one action plan 2, the sixth action plan is very, very important for us, because that is relating with a concept what is called as treaty abuse or treaty shopping, and that is related with double taxation avoidance agreement. So six-point action plan deals with treaty shopping or this treaty abuse. Now what is this treaty? We'll discuss. Now regarding this treaty shopping and treaty abuse, we'll come to the other topic. We'll discuss that. So treaty abuse is dealt, or treaty shopping is dealt in the sixth point action plan. Out of this 15, sixth point action plan is dealing with this. Now what this action plan talks about is it is telling all the member countries, or especially the G20 countries, whenever you go for a treaty, especially this double taxation avoidance treaty, ensure that when you sign the treaty itself, tell the other country that the tax avoidance by multinational national companies should be avoided. It should be explicitly mentioned as a first step. Second step, it need to ensure some test is being conducted. Test being conducted to ensure that the inflows from these countries are genuine. For example, test like this action plan consider two type of tests. The major one is limitation of benefit test. Limitation of benefit test. We call it as LOB, limitation of benefits test, or general purpose test. So what is this limitation of benefit? Every treaty has a benefit. Every treaty has a benefit, but that benefit, everybody will not get that benefit. It is having some limitation. Only the genuine players, genuine investors or genuine entities will get that benefit. So what is that benefit? We'll discuss in relation to India Mauritius double tax, because it is there, that provision is there in relation to India Mauritius double taxation avoidance agreement. That is the revised treaty which we signed in May 10, 2016. We'll discuss that. Now just BPS is this much sufficient. Just have an idea. Have an idea this what is this BPS is all about. What is this now? So many things. See, I told you now there are 15-point action plan will be there. Now at the present scenario, the 6th point action plan is very important. But in future, more action plan will be implemented by the government. Then that is important for your next year. For this year, main student, this action plan is very important. Now we'll see it. Okay, now we'll come to the so this you keep in mind, this provision, the limitation of benefit provision, which is being mentioned in the action 6 plan, is also there in our India Mauritius revised India Mauritius double taxation avoidance agreement. So we can take the example from there if it is required. Now we'll come to this concept. So you're clear with this basis? Clear? What do you mean by base erosion and profit shifting? Okay. Now we'll come to the double taxation avoidance agreement.